and I am Deputy Director of Programs at the New York State Council on the Arts. You're okay with our recording? You're okay with that? I will be chairing this meeting. We're joined in a supporting role by NYSCA's General Counsel, Noah Britt. Thank you, Noah. And our Arts Team Associate, Kimberly Count. Thank you. Okay. Today, the panel will be reviewing 11 appeals of funding decisions made during NYSCA's FY25 grant cycle. If an appeal is granted by the majority vote of this panel, the application will be resubmitted to a new merits panel review. NYSCA has appointed appeals panelists to review these appeals. I will take a roll call to confirm if we have a quorum present. When I state your name, please be so kind as to say present. Asari Neal. Present. Nigel Campbell.
Present.
Michelle Jaffe.
Present.
Eden Perlow.
Present.
Kerry Sclafani.
Present.
Ellen Weinstein.
Present.
Thank you. All appeals members are present and we may proceed. I would like to begin with a brief overview of the NYSCA appeals process as laid out in our agency's regulations. This panel may consider 3 permissible grounds for appeal. Non-presentation of information. Information known to the council staff prior to the council's decision that was not presented and that might have altered the decision. Misrepresentation of information. Information known to the council staff prior to the council's decision that was changed in its presentation and if presented differently might have altered the decision. And improper procedure. Contention that the applicant either review of the funding request was biased or 2, the decision by the council was arbitrary and capricious. This appeals procedure is set forth in Part 6401 of New York's Codes, Rules, and Regulations. For FY25, NYSCA received over 2,800 applications, and we will be reviewing 11 appeals. Our process today is as follows. I'll announce the organization name and the assigned reader. Assigned readers, you will present the case brought forth by the organization, reminding us of the grounds for appeal and then summarize whether or not you feel that the appeal has merit. The panel will then discuss the appeal, adding in their own commentary based upon the information provided. When the discussion is done, I will ask for, or someone else may feel free to submit a motion. That motion has to be seconded. After a second, I'll ask if there's any further discussion. If there is none, or when that discussion is done, I will ask for a vote from all those in favor of granting the motion and all those opposed. As a reminder, appeals are granted or denied by a rule of a majority vote. As an appeals panelist, your charge is to examine the information that's presented by the appellants and determine the validity of the stated grounds. So please keep in mind the following items, because it's very different from our other panels. Disagreement with the amount of an award or with the council's decision is not to provide a grant is not a sufficient cause for appeal. Previous funding history is not a consideration in the review process, as NYSCA clearly states on its website and in the guidelines. You may not substitute your own aesthetic judgment for the original panel. New information that was not included in the original application also may not be taken into consideration in this panel meeting. The non-presentation of an application to the original panel because staff determined that the application was not compliant with the funding opportunity guidelines is not appealable. As you look at the information, please remember also to consider whether the information that was relevant to the council's decision and made known to staff prior to the decision was presented to the council. Keep in mind if the information known to the staff prior to the council decision was presented fairly and without bias in the agency's review process. And also keep in mind if the council followed the procedure set forth in the general guidelines section of the program guidelines in arriving at its decision. Our discussion of today's 11 appeals might result in the discussion of confidential information that's included in the applicants of the appeals file. So accordingly, our general counsel has determined that this appeals panel has a sound legal basis under section 105(1)(f) of the Open Meetings Law to enter into executive session to review the NYSCA FY 2025 appeals. Can I please get a motion from one of our appeals panelists to enter into executive session? Do I have a second? Here. Would our appeals panelists please raise their hands to confirm the support for the motion? All those in favor? Okay, it's unanimous. Okay, so welcome back to the public portion of the appeals meeting for the New York State Council on Yards. I would like a motion to take a final vote on the appeals panel recommendations. Okay, so the motion on the floor is that we're going to consider these, we're gonna look at them one by one. Royal Family Production. The panel voted to uphold this appeal. May I have a motion to recognize that? A second. All those in favor of upholding the appeal, moving forward the appeal for Royal Family Production? Thank you. The next appeal that will move forward is Buffalo Niagara Heritage Village. Is there a motion for that? The second. All those in favor of moving that forward the appeal for Buffalo Niagara Heritage Village, please raise your hands. Any disagree? Okay. Next, we are going to look at the appeal for Eric Taylor. The appeals panel voted to deny this appeal. Is there a motion? Second. All those in favor of denying this appeal? Thank you. Any refusals? Thank you. Jian Pig, sponsored by Foundation for the Arts, panel voted to deny. Is there a motion to forward it with that second? All those in favor of denying this appeal, please raise your hands. Unanimous. League of Professional Theater Women. The appeals panel voted to deny this appeal. Is there a motion? Second. All those in favor of denying the appeal? Thank you. Next is Creative Place International Theater Saratoga. The panel voted to deny the appeal. Is there a motion? Second. All those in favor? Next is Omni Ensemble. Panel voted to deny that appeal. Is there a motion? Second. All those in favor? Next is Musicians Foundation. Appeals panelists voted to deny that appeal. Is all those in, is there a motion? Second. All those in favor? Thank you. Lake George Music Festival. The appeals panel voted to deny that appeal. Is there a motion? Second. All those in favor? Thank you. Transformer Theater. Appeals panel voted to deny this appeal. Is there a motion? Second. All those in favor? And finally, we have New York State Ballet. The panel voted to deny the appeal. Is there a motion? Second. All those in favor? Any recusals? Thank you so much. That concludes our business of the appeals panel today. It was a great conversation. I want to say we don't take these decisions very lightly. I think that from our conversation that we have agreed that panel comments are critical for organizations to receive. That it is the application process in and of itself can be a learning opportunity, especially for those newer organizations, artist-run organizations. We really want to encourage everyone to have successful applications. In FY25, NYSCA received almost 20% increase in applications, so it's one of our more competitive years that we've had over the last several years altogether. We really encourage people to apply as soon as possible, not to wait to the last minute so that they can prove themselves, make sure that they've submitted all of the materials. So thank you so much for your service. Really, really appreciate it. At this time, I want to ask for a motion to adjourn the appeals panel. We have a second. Thank you. All those in favor? We're done. Thank you so much for your grace and your time. Thank you so much.